bandits have killed no fewer than 32 people in a series of attacks across the Tunga-Makeri, Konsoko, and Pissa communities in local government area of Niger State. The forced assault occurred at Tunga-Makeri around 3 a.m., leaving 6 dead and several houses destroyed. And later, the attackers struck Konsoko and Pissa at about 6 a.m., killing 26 people and setting buildings, including a police outpost, ablaze. The exact casualties in Pissa remain unclear, as residents said the assailants, numbering over 200, operated for several hours, despite the communities being roughly 200 kilometers from the Nigerian Air Force Base in Bussa. Security forces have now been deployed and rescue operations are ongoing. And to discuss this further, we are joined by our security analyst, Dauda Gombe, as he joins us from Niger State. Glad to have you join us. I believe you can hear me. Glad to have you join us. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for having me this evening.
Yes, now dive right in. As governors now governors receive security votes, yet insecurity persists in their state. Is the problem the misuse of funds, or the limitations are imposed by a centralized security structure?
Oh, thank you so much. First and foremost, I would like to extend my condolences to the people affected, and also to, call on the government to be proactive in handling intelligence matters. Coming back to your report, I think this is a topic that has been on the street for long. Who is actually not doing his own job? Yep. Is it the governors? Is it the restriction by the Constitution of having the federal to control the security? Both, I think, are responsible for what is happening today. If today, for us, what we are saying, if the governors have so much control over the army, over the police, and also can act directly on what is happening, even though at some point there is synergy, but that synergy and collaboration is not that sufficient to provide the necessary timely interventions, especially in these ungoverned spaces where there is poor infrastructure, lack of access road, and other things that may limit it, security presence, and also coupled with insufficient securities. I think I will go by saying both are responsible, and we need to, this is what can lead us to think about the need for community policing to be effective, to be efficient, so that we can act on time whenever these things are happening. And this has been a repeated attack in the North Central recently, not for any reason, but for them to show their presence, for them to instill fear, and also to ensure that people now run for their life and other things.
Yes, thank you very much. But now, in many rural areas, community leaders have, hold these peace meetings, paying of levies, and settling of ransoms to keep their people safe. Now, is this a practice that should be encouraged day in, day out, or discouraged across affected states?
There is no way we can say this should be encouraged, because these levies and all these negotiations have never worked in the way that we expected. We have so many of these, but all the time it fails, because this lack, effective mechanism to track on the agreed agreement, because these people cannot be trusted at any point. But, people have no option because of lack of what I said earlier, absence of government in many places. Many of these places are ungoverned spaces. This leads us to understand or to look into how many police do we have, how many military personnel do we have. We have over 250 million Nigerians. Are our security personnel enough to protect them? No. If these people run and become IDPs in other places that feel scared, can they be provided with what they want? They feel it is better for them to go into this negotiation. But this negotiation will never, and they are never, kind of a solution to this thing. But rather, it is better if government will, provide more and more adequate security to these people, create a system that work for the society in ensuring we have community policy that is effective, efficient, and also we have voluntarily means of providing information. And all this can happen when we have good governance that provide infrastructure, rural road network, water, and all other things that people feel and have trust upon government. But when trust on government is deficit, is not there, people resort to what they feel is the best. And even if that what they feel is not the best for them, but that is the option they have. So for me, and for anybody who is into this, that knows how this is happening, will never say that negotiation between communities and bandit or terrorists to have agreement to pay some levies is the best. No, it's not the best solution. The best solution is to have effective policing that protect the lives and property of citizens, as is contained in Chapter 2, which is the full responsibility of the federal, state, and local government. And this led us to understand the need for having, a functional local government administrative. We were just talking yesterday with some friends that when we remember during the military system, some rural road network were done by the local government administration. But today, local government administration cannot even, renovate a classroom, neither talk less of providing security support and other things. So that's not a solution, actually, and I will never promote. But a dialogue where it involves federal government, it involves state, it involves, surrendering of arms. It involves, reintegration, integration, and other things. That is something that we can promote, but not a dialogue between citizens and citizens on the level of paying levies, on the level of sacrificing their farmlands, their houses, their wives, and other things.
Now, there's a key thing you spoke about, which is the issue of policing. Now, there is a thing that has been going on for a while now in Nigeria, the issue of the state police, looking at inadequate policing. Now, given the nationwide surge in violence, do you think this is a time whereby state policing should be encouraged in every state?
I think personally, me as a person, I believe that is the time. Because the reason is that even if the fear we have on state policing, that governors and other state authorities will misuse them, but if we look at other cause or other advantage that will come, for instance, every state, if they will recruit their own state people, they will not be left alone. The federal police will be checking in them, will be guiding them, will be providing all the necessary support. So for me, it is better we have state policing in this regard. Just within 2 weeks now, my brother, how many lives that we are just aware through media, how many lives have we lost? Nigeria has become a blood ground. Every blessed day, more than 20 people or thereabout are being lost. So what do we mean? If we have state policing, at least, no matter how government or state government or authorities that we are fear at the state level will misuse them, at least we may likely get a certain, kind of relief that at least some places will be secured, some people will have jobs, and it will reduce the tensions and other things if there are genuine intention to do that. And like any other, even US today, what is happening? The killing of blacks, the killing of minority, the challenges with police, with even body cams. Did it stop? No. So we must have failures, but let's look, let's try. This is overdue. We need to have a system that works beyond vigilantes, beyond unprofessional, system that exists, or informal, let me say informal system that works in our society. If we can have informal system, why not have the formal system and try and see? Even local government police, we can encourage that. But let's try something and see at least. Then we can now come up and say whether it is working or it's not working.
Now, I get your passion for this because you are really diving in and trying to break it down, looking at how it is and how it really affects. How it really affects. But on the final note, now, can terrorism be defeated when allegations of internal compromise or local enablers and weak accountability remain unresolved?
I think terrorism can only be won when both parameters are put on the right track. We need both the kinetic and the non-kinetic approach. We need to go back to drawing boards to have, like the last time when I have an interview with your team, I tell them lack of synergy, collaboration, intelligence sharing, lack of, good communication between security apparatus the run for, we are the first to share, we are the first to attack, all this, all this competition between security apparatus in the country need to stop. We need to have a system that works for Nigeria, for Nigerians, and for the future we have. And we need to have a system that responds immediately to any challenge. That is what we need, and we need to have a collaboration that effectively work between federal, state, local, traditional, religious, and everybody. Terrorism can only be defeated when we are united, when we are stronger together, and when we understood that these people have no any person or any group that is exempted. Everyone is their enemy, and they can go to any length to, to see that they have achieved what they are after.